Hello there and welcome once again to Red Gaming Tech. My name is Marta. Today is the 18th of July and once again I'm here to give you your daily dose of the latest gaming news. Today I have some news for you concerning PlanetSide 2, as Sony Online Entertainment has scrapped its plans to introduce paid-for consumable buffs which will be named implants within the massively multiplayer online shooter. And this decision was made after many fans filled several Reddit threads with negative feedback on the suggested feature, and they had this to say. After reading through your comments, we've decided to go back to the drawing board on implants, and this was written by the Sony Online Entertainment president John Smedley via Twitter, and quotes, "They will not be coming with forthcoming update GU13. And this would have, of course, been basically a microtransaction system charging real-world money for limited-time buffs, and players basically expressed the worry that it was upset PlanetSide 2's in-game economy and go against previous promises that Sony had made to only offer cosmetic paid-for items within the game. And PlanetSide 2 creative director Matt Higbee did assure players last year that Sony would not implement a pay-to-win strategy of the game, and he had this to say. "Anything that affects gameplay, such as grenades or medkits or implants that give you additional power within the game, will be exclusively unlocked via in-game resources." And of course, it's only a PC game at the moment, but will come into PS4 at some point in the future. So it's pretty good that they've decided to listen to the fans, and there's actually 3 separate threads here on Reddit and that I can see here. And many of them are expressing the same concerns that, well, not only would it affect the gameplay balance and so forth, they would literally just go back on the promises that they'd made previously. As I said, the creative director said last year that they would not do anything that affects the gameplay, and any buffs such as medkits, implants and so on would not be given to you with real-world currency. Those were his words that I just quoted to you just now. Anything that affects gameplay, such as grenades, medkits or implants, will give you additional powers in the game, will be exclusively unlocked via in-game resources. So obviously, if they were to go and change that to implants being available in the in-game store for real-world money, then they're pretty much going exactly back on what they said. They're doing the exact opposite of what they said all that time ago. And obviously having paid to win in any free-to-play game is just always a negative thing, at least in my opinion. Obviously, having your microtransaction system in there is absolutely fine for any free-to-play game. That's how they make their money. Cool, don't have a problem with that, that's fine. But you cannot literally have pay to win where someone who's paying money will have a distinct advantage over the player who's not paying, especially if the player who's not paying money cannot get those buffs just by playing the game. That is pay to win, because the person who's willing to pay their real money or has the money to pay or what have you has a distinct advantage. So I'm really happy that Sony has listened to their fans. It does seem like they were sort of testing the water a little bit, see what they could get away with, but to be honest, I don't think that players were ever going to forget what Matt Higbee said, and were always going to say, hey, this is BS, you said you weren't going to do this. I'm not really sure if Sony actually expected people to accept this. I don't know. It's hard to say with any company. Maybe they thought they'd be okay with it, but obviously people definitely were not, and it's a good thing that they've listened to player feedback. It does show that if we rise a big enough outcry, that we can make change, but to be honest, it's this. Things like this are better than hashtags or what have you. We need to actually contact them directly and say, hey, this is not on, we're not going to stand for this. Doing hashtags and all that on Twitter is not really going to cause anything, but publicly expressing your opinion directly to them or in a place where they're going to see it, that's much better, to be honest. And obviously we've seen here, and of course with the massive upheaval of the Xbox One, that they do listen if we express ourselves in the correct way. So it's a very good thing that Sony is not going through with this, but I don't know if we've seen the last of this. They haven't said they definitely won't be putting it in. They've said they were going back to the drawing board. That means they're going to figure out a way to do this. Whether or not it's making them available via in-game or what have you, they clearly haven't given up on the idea of charging for implants in some manner. because they've said they're going back to the drawing board. Perhaps we won't see them again, but I think they're going to toy around with it for a little bit before they completely give up on the idea, but that's just me. So, what do you guys think about this? Do you think we'll ever see them back again? Do you think Sony will try to implement them in some other way, or perhaps some other form of charging for in-game buffs or what have you? Be curious to see what any PlanetSide 2 players actually have to say. I never actually played the game. I had every intention of playing it, but I just never got round to it for whatever reason. Mostly time, I think, but still. Be curious to see what you guys think. Yeah, that's me done. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.